because the mortgage industry, sadly, is a cyclical business, and we just went through two of the toughest years ever. We did $2.7 billion in 2022. 90% of the companies went out of business those years. This year we're doing $4 billion. Being born in absolute poverty, like I've got 1,000 times more than I ever needed or wanted or dreamed of. So money right now isn't the motive. It's domination is the motive. More market share.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Money Mondays. We are in an RV motorhome parked at the ranch right this second, the wild jungle. Right outside right now, there's military training going on. People are learning how to shoot, how to fight at Operation Black Site. There's a lot of action, and it just so happened to be that our guest decided to swing by, bring his family over here to meet over 200 animals. So his kids are running outside talking to zebras and camels and ostriches and 2,700-pound water buffaloes, and we're in here about to talk to you guys about 3 core topics: how to make money, how to invest money, how to give it away to charity. This guest, his company is doing over $5 billion with a B in loans through E-Mortgage Capital. He's been doing this for many, many years. He's set up in 45 states around the country. And so we're going to talk about all the core things about money, investing, and we're going to ask him some things about real estate in that entire world. And how do you scale to over 800, I think it's 850, maybe 900, he might probably hired people today, employees and sales reps out there working in the real estate field. So without further ado, Joseph, if you can give us the quick 2-minute bio, we can get straight to the money.
All right, good deal. Joseph Shalaby, I'm the founder and CEO of E-Mortgage Capital. I'm top mortgage company in the state of California, top non-delegated mortgage banker in the nation, which basically means that we don't do the decisions. We send it to our investor, who's actually the largest lender in the country, to make the decisions, but we use them for the decision making. I'm also the top mortgage influencer in our space personally. So we actually are on track to do about $4 billion this year. We did about $2.5 billion last year. Prior to that, in the boom of 2020, 2021, we did $4 billion in 2020, $6 billion in 2021. And right now, we're just continuing to gain a lot of market share. We got about 850 loan officers. But what we do, it's not the 850 loan officers that really is the number. We actively cut 50 to 100 people a month actively. So we're always getting rid of loan officers who aren't actively producing. So our goal is to just retain as much of the top talent within our organization as possible and continue to scale with the best in class of originators.
So someone out there that wants to make money, why should they get into the mortgage game? Why should they be out there working with someone like you?
Well, so I'll make this very, very simple for someone to digest. A real estate agent is geo-targeted to one city, one zip code. Sometimes they're just geo-targeted to one neighborhood. Now, and so if you're geo-targeted to one neighborhood, immediately you have less bandwidth and a ton of competition in just one neighborhood. Not only that, but how many people want to sell their house in that neighborhood and how many people need money in that neighborhood? Now, amplify that message nationally. How many people need money nationally versus how many people want to sell their house at a local level? So the opportunities that exist within the mortgage ecosystem are like 1,000 times more than the real estate space. And if you take the numbers comparatively, the average loan amount right now in the U.S. is about $500,000. We make as much per transaction as a real estate agent. 2%, about 2.5%, and a real estate agent makes 2.5%. Yep. But they have finite amount of leads. We have basically an infinite amount of leads and an infinite amount of opportunities, because we just don't lend on residential, one single family. We do multi-units, we do commercial, we do construction, we do private money, we do HELOCs, we do hard money, we do asset backed, we do land loans. So we just basically have infinite amounts of opportunity in comparison to a real estate agent, and everybody knows that real estate is the most lucrative business. So mortgage is kind of like a hidden gem. Well, it's not really that hidden because a lot
everybody
of people
needs a mortgage, right?
Everybody needs it, but people don't know the scope or the magnitude, or really they don't understand the opportunity that lies within the mortgage ecosystem. But it's starting to make its headway. Like, you got multiple people within the NBA that own teams now. You got the Cleveland Cavaliers. Dan Gilbert owns the Cleveland Cavaliers, and now my good friend Matt Ishbia, he bought the Phoenix Suns last year, and I work hand in hand with him, implementing a lot of his vision within our platform. And, obviously he's my mentor, he's my personal coach, and, he helps direct a lot of my vision as well with him and his team.
So when you say the 2.5%, someone closes like $1 million loan, are they making?
They're making 20 grand.
They're making 20 grand.
20 grand on one mortgage
I
transaction.
see why you've got 800 people working there.
850 people. So we're trying to always scale. And my model now, and you know this now, it's like I don't care about money right now. My goal is one thing and one thing only, and that's just to continue to gain more market share. I don't care what it takes. I will invest in companies. People are like, well, I don't have leads, I don't have marketing, I don't have technology. Like, dude, I got you. We'll get you rolling. We will figure it out. We just want the market share right now. So we don't have much of an interest right now in profitability. I know that sounds crazy. It's like, and I say this all the time, and I mean it wholeheartedly. I come from a very poor origin. I'm from a third world, and I'm not just from a third world. I'm from like the poorest part of a third world. So I like to say I'm from like a sixth world. And so for being born in Cairo, being born in absolute poverty, like I've got 1,000 times more than I ever needed or wanted or dreamed of. So money right now isn't the motive. It's domination is the motive. Market share is the motive.
So in an industry where you're battling with major household name corporations, and how do you stand out? How do you take some of that market share?
So right now, I like to say actually we are the biggest brand in the mortgage space, and we've done that through different mortgage social media mortgage influences. But you got your Bank of America, and you got your Rocket and all these companies that are on social media. But actually, if you look at social media and compare Rocket to eMortgage Capital, we're actually 3,000% larger than them on social media. We're 30x larger than Rocket. They're probably hearing me. They're going, "We're going to dominate you now, Joe. Come after me, baby. Let's go. I want the competition." But no, big banks have attained most of the market share. But everybody knows that big banks they're more expensive. They're slower. They can't execute as quick. And Matt, the CEO of United Wholesale Mortgage and the one that bought the Phoenix Suns, he's done a good job really highlighting and empowering the mortgage broker community and really putting that out to light, especially with the new partnership with Mortgage Matchup on the NBA. A lot more light is shined upon the mortgage broker community. Everybody knows that a mortgage broker is the best place to get your mortgage. That's an absolute fact. Fannie Mae released an article that it's $9,400 cheaper for every transaction you do, cheaper than a bank or a commercial or a delegated lender. It's $9,400 cheaper to go through a mortgage broker than through a retail lender or a big bank. So it's an absolute fact that was published by the government. So and it's all about education. I'm a part of several committees where we actually try to educate the general public about the mortgage broker community, working with a broker, working with people who work at banks that don't understand that there's been a big stigma since the crash because there was a lot of bad brokers during the crash, right? No way crash, and they blame mortgage brokers for the crash. So there's some validity in that because of the subprime crash, and they were doing all these Nina loans, ninja loans, no documentation loans that basically caused the crash. But we've been trying to reverse that psyche for 15 years now, 16 years.
So it sounds like part of the market domination outside of the advertising is the people themselves, is the 850 officers that are out there. How do you retain talent so that other companies don't try to kidnap them?
That's a great question. So what we try to do in fostering talent and retaining talent is continue to provide value. So one of the things that we do is help them with their marketing, help them with their lead generation, help them with innovating, conceptualizing new ways to drive business, and creating new partnerships with massive vendors to help them catapult their business. Because what people don't understand right now is if they're a small broker and they have this what we bring on a lot on is small independent mortgage brokers, people in their own small mortgage company. And what they don't realize is they have this small mortgage company, they're doing 1-2 transactions a month, but they have finite amount of resources, they have finite amount of collaboration, they have finite amount of technology, versus coming to a mega company like ours where we give them all of their marketing, their HR, their data, their technology, their resources, their collaboration. We handle all of their payrolls, their compliance, their licensing, where they can do business in 45 states, not just one state. We handle all of their contracts, all of the minutia of running their business is offload and sent to us, so they don't have to worry about how am I going to survive? How am I going to make money? How am I going to continue to innovate? How am I going to retain my top talent? So what we do is just pour resources into these people. So they know that, like, oh, this guy's giving me an offer. I tell people, I'm like, if I don't earn your business, here's my 5 competitors. I give them my by name. Here's their phone number. Go to them. Like, please. Like, we're all friends. You know, like, I need to fight for your business every day. I got to earn my keep here. I got to present enough value for you to make sure that you stay with me, for me to make sure that you are winning at all times. And if I'm not doing that, please, by all means, I encourage you to depart.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a hard question that a lot of people need to hear the tough answer to. They start making 10 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand, 40 grand a month working with you, and then they go blow it because they go buy Teslas and fancy cars and 2 watches and 6 houses and nightclubs and things. What do you say to those sales reps and the mortgage people that are making good money, and it could be any industry, making good money, how to not go blow it like we've seen a lot of people do?
Well, what I really, really preach within my organization, I preach this daily, is like, I want everyone within the organization doing God's work and serving first. And if you have a mindset of servitude and really glorifying and edifying God, like, you're not going to go blow it on things that are frivolous, because it just goes quickly. And I can't tell people not to go blow their money, but I can exemplify and exude a servant of God, and they can see that, oh, my CEO is like really like encouraging me to do good. Like, go serve, go give money away, go do charitable deeds. We're
gonna get there.
go do something that's going to help society. And they see that in my content strategy. They see that in my daily messaging. They see that in everything that I do. So, there's no way we're stopping sin. There's no way we're stopping people from doing things that are, that there's deep sadness within them that's causing this, right? But what we can do is just continue to spread a message of goodness, continue to spread that message of hope. And, I've seen people within our organization pass away from drug usage. I mean, we've got 1,000 LOs, and people have done that within the organization, and it breaks our heart to see that, because we've seen that a couple times. And those people are clearly not listening to my messages. Yeah. They're clearly not coming to my meetings, and they weren't actually doing that. So it's the people that are like actively engaged in the way that we do business, because I do conferences, I do quarterly summits. I mean, I'm in their face daily. Mm-hmm. Like I could only do so much in terms of my messaging to really preach God, and that's really all I try to do. Like, if I know that if I do God's work, like, I'm going to try to deter as many people away from that. And man, Jesus himself couldn't save everybody. Like, there's just going to be people who just fall off the map. That's like, that's just, it is what it is. Like, he didn't come and save every single Gentile. Like, it's just not going to happen. But we could just do as much as we can. But I wish there was a strategy to effectively stop people from that lifestyle. There just isn't, Dan. Like, they just got to learn the hard way. So
now on the investing side, a very similar question. As they start making 10 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand, 40 grand, et cetera, per month, what they should be thinking about investing into their own future. Should they be investing into real estate? Should they be investing into the stock market? What do you think about the investing side of things as people start making money in their careers?
Yeah, so we are a national real estate mortgage company. So we like to tell people, and I do a lot of content about this, as to how they should be investing their money, like whether they're investing in fractional ownership in real estate, because that's, I practice what we preach, right? We have to invest in real estate, and we have a lot of good platforms for them to invest marginal amounts. Obviously, investment properties. We always are putting out content about, like, where's the cheapest to invest. Like, obviously you're not going to make money in California on multi-unit right now, right? But you're going to make money in Missouri. It's the number 1 state in the country. Damn good state to invest in right now. Alabama, Florida, Texas. You're still getting good returns on your money. And because these people are all self-employed, they're getting great write-offs, interest write-offs on their money. So, real estate, everybody knows it's an absolute fact. Historically, it's the best investment you can ever make. And, and it's nice to have a roof over your head. And we are obviously encouraging home ownership for their own homes as well. Right now, they got to put money away. They got to invest, because the mortgage industry, sadly, is a cyclical business. And we just went through 2 of the toughest years ever in the mortgage industry, ever. 2020, for the fact that I told you we did $2.7 billion in 2022, 90% of the companies went out of business those years. Right. Like this year we're doing $4 billion. Like, we're just gaining, like everyone's just shutting down and coming to us is what's happening. We have a significant portion of national market share, and that's my goal. And I aim to get to 8 billion next year, 12 billion, and we're going up significantly with people, with help with folks like you guys, because we are starting to pivot into a completely new vertical, which is the vertical of really attracting a broad audience through this entertainment style content and really enlightening the nation about the mortgage industry and the opportunities within this ecosystem.
So the reason I love what you're doing about standing out as the main character in the mortgage space, I'm going to give you guys a quick example. Everyone listening at home, in your office, in your car, in the gym, can you quickly name, without Googling, the CEO of Southwest Airlines? No. American Airlines? No. I can keep going. JetBlue? You definitely don't know. United Airlines? You've got no idea. Spirit? I don't even know if they have a CEO. But if I said Virgin Airlines, you all know Richard Branson. And guess what? He's the multi-billionaire out of all of them. And he's got like 50 to 100 different companies, nightclubs, restaurants, vodka, water, record labels, hotels, casinos in Las Vegas, etc., because of his personal brand. And so why should you, people listening at home, invest into their personal brands similar to what you do right now in the mortgage game?
That's exactly what we're doing. Like, I started this initiative, and I was telling some of the folks here that the real Tarzan that I got the blessing of meeting earlier today. Like, I built this personal brand in 6 months. I started the podcast 6 months ago. I started my personal brand initiative 6 months ago, and I managed to amass a following of 1 million people on my personal Instagram. Now I'm growing. My TikTok's blowing up. Snapchat's blowing up. So I'm trying to grow a massive audience. My goal is to get to 100 million followers on all I got 3 platforms: my brand, my company's brand, and my podcast brand. We have about 5.6 million followers across all platforms currently. My goal is to get to 100 million followers on all platforms in the next 24 months. And I'm checking those numbers, and we're growing, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands daily in some days. So and then now that I'm starting to really push and understand the fundamentals of building a personal brand, the kind of marketing that I need to do to really establish a solid personal brand, and with help from you and people that I meet through you, and through the incredible masterminds that I get to be so blessed to be a part of. Like, I'm able to scale at lightning pace, and it happens by the day. It's like exponential growth. It's just collaborating with the brilliance of people like yourself. It's just a huge opportunity, and it's just an untapped opportunity because there's no one else in my space doing what I'm doing. I'm the only real guy that's doing that's a true influencer. And I'm not like 10 million followers like some of these guys in like Ryan Serhant or the real estate influencers. But I'm give me 24 months, and I will smoke everybody.
Why should someone who is a mortgage broker or in the real estate space or just in accounting, finance executive, etc., why should they be building personal brands out there in the marketplace?
Because it's something that's yours. Like, Joseph Shalaby will be my legacy as me forever. My kids will, and I always think of my kids because I have 4 kids. When I die, like, my kids will be watching my content. They'll be like, "That's Dad." Like, they'll be remembering me through that content. They'll be watching me forever. I will live on. It'll be my foot soldier as Dad forever. My grandkids will be watching me. So I like to think of my personal brand as my legacy and my contribution to the world. And I do content that really I can get behind. Like, I do content that edifies God. I do content that I think helps people. I do content that touches your heart. So I stand behind my content as my contribution to society and my contribution as a part of my servitude, right? So building a personal brand, back to the question, building a personal brand is something that is yours forever. So I tell people, today we were talking about this on my meeting. I had a all hands meeting today with my organization, and I told them, this personal brand of yours, like eMortgage Capital, like we just power your brand. That's all we do. Like, we could disappear, but your personal brand, that's yours forever. Like, something happens, God forbid something happens to our company, and we go out of business, like, you're going to just take your brand and move it to the next company. Mm-hmm. That's all you're going to do. Like, we are just here to facilitate your brand. That's it. And if I don't give you the best deal, or if I don't give you the most resources, or if I'm not innovating for you and helping you build your personal brand, I want you to leave me. I want you to go find that next company that's going to help you be better, because I'm not doing my job.
Why should people in the real estate space invest into studying, mentorship, skills, learning? Why should they get more tools for their toolbox?
If I didn't have mentors, I just wouldn't be able to scale. Like, if I'm not attending masterminds, I don't know. Like, and we talked about this earlier. It's like, we're cutting the line.
Mm-hmm.
We're cutting the line by collaborating. We're cutting the line by, like, me going to someone like you and going, and you actually said this. You're like, don't tell me about your success, because that's like, I don't want to hear like hustle hard. You know, you're like, oh yeah, you work really hard. You're gonna get far in life. You said, tell me where you messed up. Tell me where you effed up. Like that's where you learn. Like,
absolutely.
I learned through your struggles. I don't learn through your triumphs. I learned through the things that made you fall on your face and really like hit the
up.
floor.
Yeah. How'd you get up?
And then how did you get up? And then that's where you learn. And that's what we talk about. You know, my show, my podcast, we talk about the struggles. We talk about the triumphs. We talk about people's health. We talk about what's God going to tell you when you die. You know, like, that's the stuff that matters. You know, like, you're already on top. Like, you're going to tell me you grind. I know you grind. Like, I know you grind. Like, obviously you grind.
Everyone be like, oh, provide value.
Yeah.
How? If someone's 20 years old, they don't know how to provide value unless you actually walk them through what those tips and tricks of what to do. Too many people just use these broad statements like grind, hustle hard, provide value. What does that mean? How do I do it? When you say grind, what do I do for those 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours a day?
Yeah.
They don't know what to do. So I like to break it down of, this is what you do all day long. You are a social media influencer? Okay, great. Make a one-page PDF kit. Take that PDF and say your bio, your name, your social media following, all these little things about you. How much do you charge for a post? And then DM, email, text, call, carrier pigeon, whatever you have to do to every freaking brand in clothing, beverage, CBD, fitness, health, food, watches, accessories, women's clothes, men's clothes, shoes, hats, whatever, all day long. And guess what? If you send out hundreds of PDFs to brands, you're going to make money.
That's right.
And the same concept applies. You're in real estate or mortgage, go meet hundreds of people and get 2 or 3 deals done. And if you get $10,000 or $20,000 of freaking commission, holy smokes.
And how easy is it? So we deal with this all the time. Like, people are like, I'm slow, or the rates are too high. Okay, rates are too high. I guess nobody needs money anymore.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
like that. Like, I guess people are screwed now. You know, rates are too high.
That's it. That's
you know,
like,
let's quit now. Like,
yeah.
oh, rates are too high. Like, nobody's gonna buy a house anymore now. Oh, you know what?
The American dream's over today.
Yeah,
today.
Like, the U.S. debt,
Yeah.
it's been wiped. The 20, however many
Trillions,
trillions,
yeah.
you know, like, boom, boom, Biden wiped it away.
Yeah.
Nobody needs money. So that's the misnomer, and that's what I deal with all the time with people in our industry. Like, you know what? I'm just gonna go drive Uber. I'm like, great, go drive Uber. We're gonna terminate your license. You know, like, we're not gonna have you here. Like, I find out you're doing another job, you're not all in. Like, you're done. You know, like, you're done, because this is not the path for you. This is a windy path. You know, like, you're not a doctor. You're not like you're a hustler here. You're independent. You run your own business. Like, everybody knows, if you run your own business, it's a windy road. It's not a straight path. You know, you want a straight path? Go be a doctor. And candidly, like, you're probably gonna want this too. My dad's a doctor, and I come from a lineage of doctors, and my brother's a doctor. Like, I kind of want my kids to be doctors, because I don't want them to suffer as much as I suffered. You're probably gonna want your kids to be doctors too, and we'll probably push them down that route, and they probably end up being entrepreneurs anyway. So, but I do want them to go down the least path of resistance. You know, like, and doctor is for sure. You're gonna make $250,000 a year.
Yep.
You can buy a house in Missouri for that now.
Yep. So
You're not living in Newport Beach with that, but you know what? You'll live a comfortable life, you know.
So the last category is about charity and philanthropy. Why do you think it's important for people, for their families, or for their offices, their business, to be involved in philanthropy? Not necessarily money, just being involved. Because the typical thing that people think is charity has to be about money. You can donate your time, energy, social media, show up in person, you know, manual labor. Like, why do you think people should be involved in philanthropy?
Well, I want to start with this. Like, God, if it was just money, That'd be the best. That'd be so easy. Like, God, I'm just gonna give you 10% of my check, and then I get in. Like, I wish it was that
you
easy.
get brownie points.
Yeah, 10% of your, like, that's all I gotta do.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, right. No, that's the most important part of charity is your time, is what you're doing to send that message, because that's really what nobody knows. You're giving away money, like and that's not gonna impact anybody. That's good. Like that's like. You have to give away money. Like, that's a fact. You got to give away money. Like, there's no way around it. But more important than that, you have to give your time, because that's really when the charity kicks in, and that's really when the fruits of the charity are going to be manifested in your life. The reason why we are doing good is I can do this all for charity now. Like, I would just do God's work for the rest of my life, and that's all I want to do, because there's so much more joy and edification and glory that comes to both of us for that, right? Like, you don't need to work. Like, you're like, dude, I'll just serve. Like, you're over here, like, hanging out with my kids. Like, you're just doing charity right now. You didn't need to do that, but how much you loved it. You know, you loved just doing that. Like, you're over here giving people food and drinks and come down to my house, like, just giving stuff away the whole time. There's so much joy and glory that comes to you from that. That's like your purpose in life.
Yeah,
that's your purpose in life. So people have to understand, charity isn't about money. If it was about money, like, that's the easiest thing. That is BS. It's not about the money, and you have to give away money. That's a must. But you have to give away time, because that's when the real fruits are going to be manifested in your life. And, you know, it just needs to come as every business, every person and business. And if you have, they're symbiotic, so you have to give away. You have to do it on both fronts. You got to give away for your business and your person. And then most importantly, you got to figure out ways to serve. Our number one pillar of our organization is serve. Serve your clients with all your heart, all your might, all your soul. Serve your vendor partners with all your heart, all your might, all your soul. Serve your lender partners with all your heart, all your might, all your soul. And serve each other within the organization with all your heart, all your might, all your soul. And everybody knows that that's our number one pillar. You come to eMortgage Capital, you know that you're going to help that guy who needs help. You're going to answer his question. Like, I never met that guy. Like, I'm not going to make no money. I'm not going to make a commission on him. Like, no, you're going to help him, because that's what we do here. That's our number one pillar. That's what we are here to serve each other. That's it.
So for my last question, it gets pretty deep, and I've asked this a lot of times, and I've never had the same answer once, and I don't think I'm going to have the same answer today. You've got 4 children. You're doing $2, $3, $4 billion in sales each year of loans and things like that, and growing the company to become $5, $10, $20, $30 billion over the course of time. What happens 100, 200 years from now when you finally pass away? What percentage of these billions and billions of dollars do you leave to the kids?
I mean, I'm going to, God willing, leave like a big portion of it to the kids. Obviously, a big portion to charity. You know, I'm trying to set up my kids to not suffer. But I always look at people like Warren Buffett and other mentors. I ask, like, what are we doing for our kids? Like, how much of a road do we want them to struggle? One of my questions on my podcast is, like, how do we instill the same grit that we have?
Right.
That we got in our kids who don't. You're not coming from like the same. Your parents weren't like you. No. You know, like my parents were poor. You know, so you know that mindset of grit and hustle has to start. Like, that's why you see my kids are like, I'm like, you're filming content. You're hanging out with these other kids. Like, the hustle now is a different world, right? Like, they're now hustling, like creating content, selling this, trying to set up their YouTube channel. It's a different hustle, but it's still a hustle, you know. And they, but you know, I'd like to leave my legacy, a big portion, to my kids, but most importantly, like, I want to figure out how to, like, invest the money for, like, because I know, like, okay, I'm gonna build churches, or I'm gonna invest in this, or this missionary, you know, like, I know how to direct the money. Like, I'd like to use my money where I know, like, where it's properly used. So I'm actively involved with the church, like, in building this, or, you know, I'm Coptic Orthodox, so our faith is a big part of who we are. It's our identity. We immigrated from Egypt specifically because we were persecuted by ISIS at the time. So you know, faith and religion, and you know, that's a big part of who we are. You know, so there's a lot of work that needs to be done, like for Coptic orphans. We got, you know, we're from extreme poverty in Egypt, so I know where I have to leave my money. A big part of my money is going to go to, you know, our indigenous people in the Coptic community, and my kids, and hopefully my kids. I'm going to figure out charitable platforms for my kids to donate their time, and their resources as part of their lifestyle. It's just going to be, servitude is just part of it's just lifestyle. It just needs to be your lifestyle.
Where can people find you across social media? How can they learn from you? How can they watch all of the content, especially since you're going full steam ahead with this content?
Follow me, Joseph Shalaby, JOSEPH Shalaby, SHALABY on TikTok, YouTube, Snapchat, Instagram. Instagram is obviously our biggest following. Follow Coffees for Closers, COFFEEZ for Closers on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. And then eMortgage Capital, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, eMortgage Capital.
And if someone wants to work with you guys,
Instagram. If someone wants to work with us, go to emortgagecapital.com and just apply. Let us know, especially if you're a loan originator or you're a broker owner or you're a branch manager or you're a retail loan originator at another mortgage bank. Hit us up, eMortgage Capital. We have a whole blueprint. We'll get you dialed in. We'll help you get licensed in whatever states you need. We'll get you trained, coached for 1-2 weeks into the wholesale community. Doesn't cost you a dime. We'll fly you out, get you fed, park you up in a hotel, all on us.
I'm glad you're here. I'm sure we're going to do this again because it's very fascinating to me. As you guys know, it's really important to have these discussions about money. We all grew up thinking it's rude to talk about money. But as you can see here on the Money Mondays, I think it's rude to not talk about it. We need to talk about loans, finances, accounting, taxes, banking, debts, borrowing money from your friends. What do you do if they don't pay you back? Like just having blunt discussion about money because it's real life. We have to be able to talk about salary because if we don't talk about it, we don't know what to ask for. We don't know what to apply for. We don't know what to do if we don't have blunt discussions. So have these discussions with your friends, family, followers. Check us out on themoneymondays.com. Keep us up there at that number 1, number 2 spot by liking, commenting, subscribing. Check out Joseph across social media, and we will see you guys next Monday.